Hi my friend, today I will tell you about Mirko Filipovich. As he himself said to himself, a right blow is a hospital, a left blow is a cemetery. Let's start, and with you, like and subscribe is the best motivation for me. Croatian heavyweight Mirko Filipovic is a living legend in the world of martial arts. A left-handed kickboxer known for the destructive power of his left foot, Filipovic has achieved unprecedented success in the world of MMA and kickboxing during his career. He is one of the few who have performed equally successfully for all major sports organizations. What is Mirko Filipovic remembered for? He is one of the brightest fighters who have ever graced combat sports, and one of the best heavyweights in the history of MMA. Possessing incredible speed, power and flexibility, Mirko Cro Cop Filipovic has established himself as the greatest MMA fighter in history. It is enough just to list some facts to understand this. Even in his youth, being in the status of an amateur, he won 40 victories. With the exception of Alistair Overeem, there is no one even close to the level of Mirko Filipovic's achievements. Moreover, we are talking not only about professional kickboxing, but also MMA. From 1996 to 2003, Cro Cop was recognized as one of the best K1 kickboxers in the world. A kickboxer from Croatia defeated truly legendary, considered invincible fighters. For example, such as Jerome Labanet, Remy Bonjasky and Peter Arts. Apart from the history of his amateur career, Cro Cop has held 61 professional kickboxing and MMA fights. Interestingly, Filipovic came to MMA without having the appropriate authority. And this is despite the fact that in fact there were almost no elite fighters of his level. This gap was eliminated in 2003 after fights with Heath Herring and Igor Vovichanchyn. His sports biography would be incomplete without the history of cooperation with world champion Fabricio Werdum, who for 2 years helped him hone the art of mastering the techniques of jiu-jitsu. Mirko, as a fighter without rules, made head knockout almost a common occurrence. However, he could finish with any technique, using both fists and knees at the same time. But still, a fantastic backhand kick is by far the most destructive technique in the history of this sport. If it is said about Anderson Silva and Fedor Emelianenko that they have an aura that makes their opponents mentally suffer defeat before the start of the match, then in the case of Mirko, he not only seemed to be an invincible force, but also a life-threatening opponent. His fight stats speak for themselves. Out of 52 official MMA fights, he finished 28 with an unconditional crushing knockout. In 6 more the opponents admitted defeat, and in 4 the victory was awarded by the judge. A total of 38 bright victories. Kickboxing in this sense was less productive, but in some moments even more spectacular. Out of 31 fights, only 8 ended in defeat. Interestingly, the famous high kick of the Croat was sustained only by one fighter, and only once. It was Mark Hunt, a kickboxer from New Zealand. Fight with Fedor Emelianenko. One of the most memorable fights that ended with Mirko's defeat can be confidently called the fight with Fedor Emelianenko. After the country was stirred up by a video in which the always calm Fedor watches his brother Alexander's duel with a Cro Cop and swears, barely restraining himself from anger, everyone began to look forward to the rematch. And it took place in the summer of 2005, at the end of August. But not with Alexander, but with Fedor. Then many fans felt that Fedor Emelianenko pointedly punished the invincible Croat for the fact that he continued to beat Alexander, who no longer resisted, in a duel with his brother. However, most came to the conclusion that it was an unforgettable meeting of 2 legendary and worthy of each other fighters. When you need a dose of adrenaline, just watch the best moments on YouTube videos to remember that there are still real superheroes in life. Personal life. He is not only a powerful athlete, but also an outstanding personality with an interesting background. Mirko's nickname Kro Cop is an abbreviation of the phrase Croatian policeman. For a long time Mirko worked as a policeman, which also adds interesting touches to the portrait. Moreover, Filipovic was not just an ordinary law enforcement officer, but the commander of the Croatian elite special forces from the anti-terrorist unit ATJ Luko. Quite unusually, he was also a member of the Croatian parliament, from 2003 to 2007. Mirko considers his marriage happy. The legendary Croatian fighter from Vinkovac fell in love with the then anesthesiologist from the Zagreb hospital 20 years ago. After 7 years of relationship, they got married in October 2002. His wife Claudia gave him 2 wonderful sons. Son Ivan was born in 2005, and 7 years later Philip was born. According to the wife, her husband is an attentive and inventive father. He loves spending time with his family and constantly arranges interesting surprises. For example, when his wife was pregnant with her second child, he held a celebration at his house, to which the famous Belgian actor Jean-Claude Van Damme was invited. From the photos in his Instagram, it is clear that Dad is closely engaged in the sports education of his sons. Cro Cop is also known for his great love for animals, which has accompanied him since childhood. Mirko says he loves all animals, but especially dogs. There are 2 dogs in the house, from the shelter, and the whole of Croatia already knows his Pekingese. Friends, that's all I have. As always, like and subscribe from you. And write everything down. What do you think about today's video in the comments? While